Hello, everyone. I'm Anthony Busby, and on behalf of CTC, I will be presenting my presentation on benefits of journaling and how journaling can help your career search. So, let's begin. Here's our table of contents. The first thing we'll be going over is introduction, and then we'll be going over two classifications of gratitude journaling. We'll have self reflection and biographical. I will then sort of use SMART goals as a tool you can use in journaling um, when you're synthesizing your thoughts in self reflection, or maybe you need to write some things down in your biographical note to see sort of where you're going. All right, and then we're going to head over and move into the benefits, and then I'll conclude you, and y'all will be on your way. All right, so let's move on and a little bit about myself. So, I'm Anthony Busby. I'm a first year's master's student at Adler University studying couples and family therapy. I served in the military, specifically the Air Force, for 7 years. I originally am from Aurora, Illinois. I moved all over and I met many different people of various backgrounds. And then looking to the future, I want to become a licensed marriage and family therapist with a certificate in sex therapy. So that's just a little bit about me, a little introduction to myself, and we'll go ahead and move on. So, what is journaling? Giving you a little bit of a rundown of what the concept of sort of journaling is. Um, Journaling is, taking any sort of notes, right, using stickers, drawing, photos, anything you can imagine to demonstrate or get the thought across, kind of taking thoughts out of your head and getting them down onto paper. Um, and some tips for that. You need to choose a method. I talked about two different methods already, and then there's a vast amount of them. And you can see some types on the right here: reflective, daily, visual, bullet, gratitude. There's so many different ways to journaling, and you can really just make journaling anything you want it to be. Um, it's really has just um, your creativity is where the limits are in journaling. So don't be hunkered down or anchored down in a concept about what method you need to use or anything like that. It's really a build your own concept when it comes to journaling. Another tip is to sort of set a schedule of when you want to be doing your journaling. Having a certain time frame in which you want to journal allows you to get just freehand sort of a ritual, if you would say, a routine in which you have a time slot set aside so that you can truly use journaling to the best of its ability. You also want to keep your journal close. You don't want it too far away. I said that you want to keep a schedule, but at the same time, you may have a spur of the moment calling to writing something in your journal that you want to remember later. So, I think it's really important to sort of keep it close, keep it on you. Set a timer so that you're not going too much into it, because there is no pressure. All right, you don't want to add an additional stressor to your life. Journaling is supposed to uh, be stress relieving, anxiety relieving. So the process isn't really necessarily an intense process. You want it to be casual, and you want to be able to take your deep breaths and be in the moment. So that's sort of why I said there's no pressure. And again, it's making it what you want it to be. Like, there's no structure, there's no right or wrong here. You are the guide. You are the limits are what limits your creativity have, and if those are met, can you go past them? Can you get more creative? um yeah, so that's just a little introduction into what journaling is, and now we'll go ahead and move on and forward to self-reflection, which is a style of gratitude journaling. So, self-reflection um, is just that, right? It's reflecting on sort of what happened in the day, what you did wrong, what you could have did better, what you did right. You want to see the positives and the negatives, but the reasons are to understand the things that have happened. Reflect on why your job search happened the way it did. What could you have done better in your job search for the day? Do you think you could have expanded your search? Maybe expanded the area, or expanded the dynamic, or looked into some locations in which your skills still apply, but it's a little outside of what you're used to. You can use the knowledge gained to better your job search. Again, that's sort of re emphasizing what I just said. And then get the ideas and new thoughts out of your head. One of the problems that we typically have is that a lot of the times we overthink situations, and we hyperfixate on them, and we keep going around in circles of possibilities, right? Getting the thought out of your head and onto paper, um, it it's it's putting the plan into action, right? Just having that little notion of, hey, you're basically propelling it into reality. Some individuals use self talk in the same fashion, in which you'll state, all right, I will be able to do this, and it's sort of manifesting, excuse me, manifesting the idea that you can move forward, and uh, sort of the idea doesn't get stuck. Rather, it's pushed forward, and you use the momentum to carry yourself forward. Self-reflection is a pretty easy journaling style. That's kind of why I decided to use it. Biographical is a little bit different, and a little bit can be a little bit more challenging. Um, but self-reflection is a good concept to hold anyway. Having your sort of ideas and concepts in yourself, having that introspection to say, hey, I could have done this better, or you know what, I did this really good. So easy as one, two, three. You recall the events throughout the day, and then you write them down descriptively. All right, and then you reflect underneath and interpret the events, and then underneath that, you'll conclude what you could have done better, what was done better. Those sort of things, and then yeah, that's it. So the next and feel free to pause the video at any time. But the next thing we're going to do is move forward into a let's practice. And essentially, you can pause the video on this screen. On this screen, I should say. Um, and here's a sort of um, writing prompt. All right. It's write about which career relationship have the most meaning to you and why. Include ways you can grow these close relationships, benefit your career search, and eliminate the bad relationships. So, sort of take a moment. I'll give you 10 seconds to sort of pause me and take your time. There's no rush here, and then just come back to the video, and we'll continue. But go ahead and try practicing this ritual, and just write write about whatever you feel is necessary to write about. But what speaks to you? What relationships speak to you in your careers and currently in your career search? All right. I'm gonna pause here and give you 10 seconds, and then I'll start the video back. All right. Hopefully that exercise went well. I always get a little excited to see people first starting journaling. And if this wasn't your first try, uh, I'm excited to hear that you're looking to continue this process. All right. So we're going to move on to our second style of journaling, which is biographical. Biographical is a little bit different of a method. Essentially, you're just writing about yourself and, sort of the actions that you went through on the day. Giving a descript sort of um, idea of what the day was like. For job searching wise, basically you're kind of telling yourself, it's like, all right, uh, here are the building blocks that I have. I've done this. I keep moving. My Lego set keeps getting built more and more and more and more, and then hopefully at the end, in in the end, you have this new career that you're actually interested in. You enjoy all of that, and that's your completed Lego set. So biographical to me is sort of starting the chapter, right? A lot of the times people compare life to a book, and right now we're in sort of that lull state in a novel where you kind of don't know what's happening. Things are getting a little chaotic. All of that. Well, here's the page. You just turn the page, right? And now, you're building to something, and that building is sort of this biographical sense. It's like you're writing to write about your life in a very descriptive way. So you're kind of writing to tell your future self. A lot of our accomplishments and things like that we reflect on in the future, and we don't realize how much we sort of have already done, because in reality, uh when you're searching for your job, all you know is there's this black and white state. I have a job, I don't have a job. And what we're looking to do is sort of show you that there is progress within those states that we're not recognizing. One of the therapists that I looked up to uh, was sort of demonstrating a process of small tasks that they did through the day. And what they would do is they would take paper clips from one container and move them to the other container to showcase that they were actually actively doing stuff. You know, as primal as we are, and as intelligent as we are, we forget that one of the things we like is progress. And I think this is a perfect way to demonstrate that you're progressing through life. You're adding and building to new experiences, right? So as my second point on the reasons states, right, use your past experience as building blocks for the next interview. um you know uh Sort of using uh events, jobs, skills, all of that sort of thing, and how you can apply those to new places. Realize where you have been and focus on where you want to go. um Constantly letting yourself know, it's like, hey, I have these intentions. I'm doing this. I filled out 3 applications today. I had an interview, and I'm looking to have two more interviews by 2 weeks, and sort of that dynamic. And then down goals that you've accomplished. Like I said, you finished two applications, you had an interview, like sort of annotating that, I've had this progress and we're still moving forward. So easy how to. So you want to write down your priorities in your career search. What are you prioritizing? What jobs are you really seeking? And then state your progress on your job search. So, for instance, one of the things I personally do with assignments in school is I will annotate that. All right, I have this assignment. All right, it's due at this day. Have I started it? How far have I gotten? And then, is it complete? Is it turned in? Having those sort of state progresses lets you know, all right, I'm moving forward. I'm starting to gain that sort of notion. And then conclude what you can apply for next time. All right, so here's another let's practice. Again, take a moment. I'll give you 10 seconds. But here's the prompt. Writing upon waking up clears one's mind's thoughts, days, becomes morning meditation. Sort of the concept that, hey, I can write this stuff down. I can get the ideas of what I want to do today, and then at the end of the day, just check it off. It's like, yeah, this was done, this was done, this was done. All right, creating life lists, updating accordingly, changing priorities, making a map of your existence, sort of mapping out where you want to go. Again, journaling doesn't have to be just writing. You can literally write. It's like, all right, here's a tree of what I think I can accomplish, or if I don't do this, I can do this. So and ors situations. And then periodic entries at critical interviews and applications provide relief and comfort, like long conversations with trusted friends. So that's sort of why I said you never know when you'll get the spark to write in your journal. Maybe you have a critical interview and you think you just perform so perfectly. Writing down in the moment is like, hey, I had this interview. I think this was phenomenal. I did this very well, and this and that. All right. So again, I'm going to give you 10 seconds to sort of pause me, and then take as much time as you need. Mhm. All right, and now we're moving forward to goals. We want to make these goals smart. All right, you don't want something overburdensome when you're talking about goals. But what is a SMART goal? SMART is an acronym. You want to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time based. And essentially, what those mean: specific, make your goals narrow and specific for effective planning. So you don't want them too broad, and you want them narrow enough that you can essentially have a plan to make them complete. Measurable. Make sure your goal and progress are measurable. If you can't measure how many applications or interviews or anything you want to do in a day, a week, um, you're kind of defeating yourself to begin with. It's like, I want to do five today, but I'm not going to do any tomorrow, any applications tomorrow. So, a sort of dispersing and spreading across your days rather than trying to uh, burden yourself with them, which also speaks to achievable, right? Make sure you can reasonably accomplish your goals within a certain amount of time frame. Uh, and then relevant. Your goals should align with your values and your long-term objectives. If you don't find a job that you're interested in, like truly aligning with who you are, you shouldn't go for it. You're not going to be happy, and it's not going to be a sustainable work life. So therefore, sort of making sure that these sort of jobs align with who you are, because you don't want to be a meat butcher and you're a vegan. Like, that doesn't make any sense, right? And the next thing you want to be is time based. Set a realistic but ambitious end date to classify task prioritization and increase motivation. Setting a time limit for when you can actually accomplish these goals is a necessary feat in which you can um, truly propel yourself in a motivation aspect. So, I'm going to show you uh, an example of what a SMART goal is. I will apply for that leadership role and at least two other places with which I am comfortable by the end of the week. So, as you can see, I have color coded this with the CTC template colors. So, the S is the blue, um, the measurable is the darker green, and then the A is sort of achievable, right? Can you achieve at least two um, other places? Um, and then I am comfortable, uh, meaning you're relevant, right? Does it align with you? Does it feel comfortable? And then time based, end of the week. So, benefits in career transition. So there's six benefits that I want to call out. Benefit number one is gain self confidence. Your self confidence is key in your job search. Yeah, the more you can sort of acclaim to what you have done positively, the more you really look and see how well you're doing. It can propel you into really owning up and honing in those skills that you've already crafted. Um, you obviously your aim is to achieve goals, and that's one of the benefactors of doing journaling, is it's getting those goals down, getting those goals out of your head and manifesting them. uh, Again, track your progress and growth. This is a concept that I've mentioned many a times already, and obviously, it's a big component and a big benefit of sort of allowing yourself to see where you've been, what you've done, and where you're going. This also strengthens your memory. It allows for you to, look back and, in when you have a bad interview or a tough interview, the first thing you may want to do is write that down. Explain, hey, I had this adverse event, but however, it improves your working memory because it allows you to look back, reflect, and be like, oh, okay, this is kind of what happened. I sort of did this, and then prevent sort of your negative mind spiral. I was like, oh, I'm defeated. I can't do this. You can. You can do this. And, it's a motivating factor in which it lets you know it's like, okay, maybe not do this next time in this interview. Never, maybe, not use this reference as a person for a job application. And again, speaking to reduce stress and anxiety, that's one of the best beneficial components of journaling. It's been proven in study after study that um, it releases your negative mindset. You can even come together with a solution that you hadn't thought of, and sort of remove those looping thoughts and emotions and release the stress that you feel as though is starting or continuing that loop. And then find inspiration. There's studies that have proven that sort of journaling can give you newfound inspiration in your job search. Um, well, not necessarily your job search, but this can be carried over. Um, and it's like, oh well, I found a job. I don't really like it, but I have this component in which, that it's really telling me I can do this better. I can formulate this. So just letting yourself know and having that the idea that, I have improvable components, and then sort of opening up your brainstorming capabilities and imagination, and sort of just like the creativity of journaling itself, find inspiration in that and move forward in your job search. So that's pretty much going to wrap up this presentation. Uh, I just want to facilitate a concluding thought. Journaling aids career search. Journaling can aid any sort of situation that you're going in or going through. Journaling can be can significantly benefit your career journey, and you can make the best of your experience. There's so many different ways to do journaling. There's so many components in which journaling is beneficial. Just take some time. In this photo, it's demonstrated to have a little candle, an aroma during your scheduled journaling session. But I think one of the biggest things is to sort of recount. It's like, hey, I've done this. I've been here. I've done this, and just move forward with the idea that you know you you're always in progress. You're always growing. And if you can write that down and, you know, keep yourself in the understanding that you are doing things that are benefiting your career search. All right. And I just want to thank you and appreciate you for being here with me and taking this time to sort of listen to my journaling video. I appreciate you, and CTC appreciates you, and just thank you. Have a good day.